What happens when we die? It is the oldest question, the most feared, the most ignored. Some imagine heaven, others imagine nothing. Some cling to dogmas, others to silence. But deep down, every soul wonders. What really awaits me when the last breath leaves? The Tibetan masters wrote a book, not of theories, but of instructions, a guide for the soul. At the very moment of death, they called it the Bardo Thödol, the Book of the Dead. It does not promise comfort. It does not sweeten the truth. It says clearly, you will face the light. You will face your shadows. You will face yourself. And what happens next depends not on a God outside you, but on the state of your own soul. Tonight, we will walk through this mystery, step by step, moment by moment, from the first breath after death to the choice of rebirth or liberation. This is not a journey of fear. It is a journey of awakening, because when you understand death, you finally understand how to live. No one is ever prepared for the exact moment of death. We speak of it in whispers, we fear it in silence. But when it arrives, it comes without asking. The Tibetan masters describe this moment not as an end, but as a transition. The last breath leaves the body, and with it, a doorway opens. It is the first step into the Bardo, the space between worlds. The soul feels the body grow heavy. It notices the silence growing deeper, and then suddenly, a strange lightness, as if the weight of flesh, pain, and memory is slipping away like old clothing. For many, fear rises. The mind resists, clings to the heartbeat, fights against surrender, but resistance only creates shadows. The masters say, dash, dash. If you can let go in this instant, you awaken into clarity instead of confusion. Imagine closing your eyes in the physical world and opening them in another. The silence feels endless, and yet, within it, you begin to hear something, not a sound of the ears, but a vibration of the soul. This is the threshold, the border between life and death. And it is here, in this very first breath beyond the body, that your awakening truly begins. The moment the body is left behind, the soul hesitates. It looks back, almost in disbelief, watching the shell it once called me. There is no pain now, but there is memory. The warmth of the skin, the rhythm of the heart, the breath moving in and out, all of it dissolves like smoke in the wind. The Tibetan sages tell us the greatest suffering of death is not the body itself, but the attachment to it, the fear of release, the clinging to what no longer holds you. For the awakened one, this moment is liberation. The soul rises gently, as if carried by an unseen current. For the unprepared, it is confusion, a desperate attempt to re-enter the body, to grip the weight that has already turned to stone. Think of it like this: a bird who has lived all its life in a cage. The door is suddenly opened. Freedom is terrifying because the cage had become familiar. So the bird longs to return to its prison, not realizing the sky was always waiting. This is the first true choice after death: to surrender or to resist, to let go, or to cling to shadows. And the soul that learns to release discovers a silence beyond imagination. A silence so vast, it feels like returning home. After the release of the body, something extraordinary begins. The soul is drawn, not by force, but by resonance. A brightness appears, subtle at first, then overwhelming, like the rising sun. The Tibetan Book of the Dead calls this the clear light of reality. It is not outside you, it is the essence of your own soul, shining without the veil of flesh and fear. For some, it is unbearable. The brilliance feels too intense, too raw, as if every secret is suddenly revealed. And so, many souls turn away. They choose the comfort of shadows, familiar illusions, the dreams of their former life. But for the brave, those who surrender, the light is not a punishment. It is love itself. It embraces without judgment. It awakens without words. Imagine standing before a mirror that shows not your body, but your essence. Every act of kindness glows like fire. Every unhealed wound trembles in the light. There is no hiding here, only truth. The masters say, dash, dash. If in this moment you recognize the light as your own soul, you can awaken fully. Liberation is possible. The cycle of birth and death can dissolve, like mist in the morning sun. But if fear pulls you away, you drift into the next stage. And there, the journey becomes far more complex. When the light feels too bright, the soul turns away, and in that turning, shadows appear. Not demons from outside, but reflections from within. The Tibetan sages remind us. Every fear unhealed, every desire unsatisfied, every wound ignored in life waits here. They rise not to punish you, but to be seen. The soul feels trapped in a dream, a voice from the past, a memory of pain, a longing for what was never fulfilled. It plays again and again, until you realize it is only your mind projecting. Imagine walking into a dark cave. Your own torchlight casts shapes on the walls, grotesque, frightening. Yet when you step closer, you see they are only shadows. The fear was your own creation. This stage is the testing ground. The courage to face what you denied, the strength to accept your own shadow, and the wisdom to surrender, knowing that none of it is permanent. For the awakened, this is a chance for healing, to embrace the pain they once rejected, to forgive themselves fully and with forgiveness. The shadows dissolve, but for the unprepared, the shadows become prisons. The soul clings to illusions, to fantasies of anger, lust, regret, and is pulled deeper into the dream. Here lies a truth no one wants to hear. The afterlife does not invent your suffering. It only mirrors what you carried in silence. Many traditions speak of judgment after death, a throne, a scale, a divine voice deciding your fate. But the Tibetan masters reveal something different. Judgment is not imposed on you. It rises from within you. In the Bardo, the soul sees its life unfold, not in words, but in pure experience. every act of kindness. You feel it again, magnified. Every wound you caused. You feel that too, not as memory, but as if you were inside the other's heart. This is not punishment. It is reflection, the great mirror of truth. No hiding, no excuses, only the raw weight of who you have been. For some, it is unbearable. The pain of their own actions floods them, and they cry out for escape. For others, it is liberation dash, a chance to finally understand, to finally take responsibility, to finally forgive themselves. Imagine standing in front of a mirror so clear that it shows not your face, but your soul. Every shadow, every light, every forgotten smile, every broken promise, and you cannot look away. This is the mirror of judgment, not a courtroom, not a punishment, but an invitation. Because when you see yourself without masks, you are given a choice to cling to shame or to awaken through truth, to sink into denial or to rise with new clarity. And here, the soul decides its path forward, whether to drift deeper into the dream or to move closer to awakening. The word bardo means in between. It is not life. It is not yet rebirth. It is the vast corridor of transition. The Tibetan masters describe 6 bardos, states of awareness that the soul must cross. But after death, the most mysterious unfold. First is the bardo of the moment of dying. Here, the soul sees the light, the invitation to dissolve into truth. Then comes the bardo of luminous reality. If the soul surrenders, it awakens into liberation. But if fear prevails, it turns away. And so begins the bardo of becoming. The soul drifts, caught between worlds, carrying the weight of its past thoughts, its desires, its unhealed wounds. It is drawn by resonance dash, toward shadow or toward light. This passage is not measured in minutes or days. Time here bends. Moments feel like centuries. Centuries like a breath. What matters is not the clock, but the state of your soul. For those who cling to illusions, the bardos become labyrinths, hallways of confusion, dreams without end. For those who awaken, the bardos become gates, each one opening into deeper freedom. Imagine standing at a crossroads again and again, each choice determined not by fate, but by the vibration you carry. Fear leads one way, love another, ignorance one path, awareness the other. The bardos are mirrors of the soul in motion, not punishment, not reward, only reflection, and sooner or later, the soul reaches the threshold. Rebirth or release, another cycle or liberation. The bardos are not only about death, they are about life, because what you carry in death is only the echo of how you lived. The fears you avoided, the truths you ignored, the wounds you buried, they all follow you, waiting to be faced. The Tibetan masters whisper a challenge. If you want peace in the bardos, create peace while alive. This means cultivating awareness now, not later, not when the body grows weak, but in each breath, in each silence, in each choice to turn inward and meet yourself fully. Awakening is not dramatic. It is subtle It is the small moments when you pause and ask, what is this life showing me about my soul? But here lies the danger. Life moves fast. Memories fade. Lessons are forgotten. And the cycle repeats. That is why I created something tangible. A space to hold your awakening, day by day. It's called the 19-Day Awakening. It's not just a journal. It's a mirror you can touch. A place to record your dreams, your patterns, your shadows, and your breakthroughs. A guide to help you remember what the soul whispers before the noise of the world takes over. If this message resonates with you, you may be ready to go deeper. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment below. Not for everyone, but for those who feel the pull. For those who know. The time to awaken is now. Because every page you fill, every reflection you capture, is a step toward freedom in life and clarity beyond death. At the end of the Bardos, the soul stands before its final choice. For some, the pull of life is irresistible. Unfinished desires, unhealed wounds, attachments that still burn like fire. They draw the soul back into the cycle. The Tibetan masters describe it as a magnet, a vibration that resonates with a new womb, a new life, a new story waiting to be lived. This is rebirth, the chance to try again, to carry forward the lessons half learned, to meet the same mirrors in different forms, until the soul finally awakens. But for others, something different happens. The attachments loosen, the illusions fade. The soul, instead of clinging, surrenders completely. And in that surrender, the cycle breaks, the wheel stops turning. The soul dissolves into the clear light, into silence, into truth beyond name. This is liberation. Freedom from birth and death, the great return. Not to another life, but to the source itself. Imagine the ocean. Each life is a wave, rising, falling, shaping itself for a moment in time. Rebirth is another wave. But liberation is the wave realizing it was never separate. It was always the ocean. The masters say this choice is not random. It is shaped by how you live now, by every thought, every act, every intention. The soul that clings in life will cling in death. The soul that surrenders in life will find release beyond it. So ask yourself, when the mirror of death comes, will you be ready to return? Or will you be ready to dissolve into freedom? The teachings of the Bardos are not meant only for the dead. They are a message for the living. Because the truth is simple. The way you live shapes the way you die. If your days are filled with anger, you will carry anger into the mirror. If your life is ruled by fear, fear will follow you into the in-between. But if you practice presence now, if you cultivate compassion, if you learn to surrender in the small moments, then death is no longer an enemy. It becomes a doorway. The sages say, every night when you sleep, you rehearse death. The body grows still, the mind drifts, and you awaken in dreams. Sleep is a small bardo, a mirror of the great transition. So use it. Treat every day as practice, every silence as a teacher, every challenge as an invitation. to let go a little more. Imagine what would happen if, instead of resisting pain, you embraced it as reflection. If, instead of clinging to people, you cherished them and released them freely. If, instead of fearing endings, you saw them as beginnings in disguise. This is how to prepare for death: by living fully, by living awake, by making peace with yourself before the last breath ever leaves your lips. Because when the time comes, the mirror will not ask for perfection. It will ask for honesty, and the soul that has lived with honesty will not be afraid to look. To understand death is to transform life. Because once you know that every breath is borrowed, that every moment is fragile, that everything you cling to will one day be released, you begin to live differently. Death's wisdom is not meant to terrify you. It is meant to wake you, to remind you that time is not endless, that love, if not spoken, may never be heard, that forgiveness, if delayed, may never be given. When you live with this awareness, priorities shift. The noise of ambition fades. The obsession with appearances loses its grip. What matters is presence. What matters is connection. What matters is the soul's growth. Imagine living each day as if it were a rehearsal for liberation. Every smile becomes sacred. Every silence becomes a prayer. Every act of kindness becomes a seed carried beyond the grave. This does not mean renouncing life. It means embracing it fully, but without illusion, loving without clinging, working without obsession, living without forgetting that all of this is temporary. The paradox is this: those who remember death most deeply are often the ones who live most fully. Because when you walk hand in hand with impermanence, you stop wasting your days. You begin to awaken, not after death, but here, now, in the heartbeat of life. Death is not the end. It is the mirror. And if you can see through it while alive, you will never truly die. So now you've seen it. The mystery of death is not darkness. It is a mirror. The Tibetan masters did not write about punishment, nor about reward. They wrote about reflection, about the soul meeting itself, without masks, without excuses. And the truth is clear. What you carry in life is what you will meet in death. If you carry fear, you will see fear. If you carry love, you will see love. If you carry awareness, you may awaken. Death is not the end. It is the great unveiling. It is the soul remembering what it has always been. So let me ask you, are you living in a way that prepares you for that moment? Or are you still clinging to shadows that will only return when the mirror appears? Write your reflection in the comments. Your words may awaken someone else's journey. And if this message touched you, don't let it fade. Subscribe to the channel. Activate the notifications. Join this space where we remember together the truths the world tries to forget. Because every breath is a rehearsal, and one day, the final breath will come. When it does, will you be ready to awaken?